Okay, well, hi, welcome. It's Tuesday evening, and this is the time that we do our deep dive on a different topic. And tonight's topic is weight loss and body shaping, and looking at different ways we can do that today. And there are things out there on the market, and we're going to look at in just a minute. But Joy just let me know of this statistic that it's time to take off our winter bulge because the average person packs on up to 5 pounds during the winter season. So if you're feeling like it's time to shed some of that, we're going to shed some new light on some new options. And in Hollywood, there's a huge body transformation rage going on. And you might have heard of a little thing called Ozempic or Wegovy. It is a semi-glutide injectable drug. And it is fantastic to help these people shed some weight really rapidly. But there are some side effects and there are some big concerns. And they're finding more and more all the time issues and setting the body up for decline and things, which we'll get into in a minute. So, miracle weight loss? I don't know. Big question mark out there. It certainly is working, but this was really originally developed to help people who have got a blood sugar regulation issue in their body, diabetic. And the sad reality is because this has become such a popular weight loss tool, a lot of the people that really need this for their uh, health and life are having difficulties getting it, and the price tag has gone up. So it's become a little controversial. And you might hear some things being said about Ozempic face. That's a big thing in Hollywood. There's this face crisis, and now all these plastic surgeons are double booked because yes, these people have lost all the weight, but they didn't realize what their faces would look like. And some people are really being ridiculed because they've had radical changes in their appearance. And I think that's so sad. So I'm here with some good news in a minute. But first, I want to tell you what that drug is doing and how it's able to do that, because I think it's important to understand. So let's start at the top of this chart here, the brain. So it is down regulating the appetite. It is also up regulating the satiety. It's helping the body think it's not hungry, and it's helping reduce the food intake because if you don't think you're hungry, you're not going to eat as much, right? And then there's actions of neuroprotection. And then we have the gastrointestinal tract. And really what it's doing is it's down regulating the movement of the food in that digestional tract. It's purposely slowing it down. So it sits in there. It makes that feeling of fullness stay because the food stays longer, but it also is slowing down the acid secretion. It's changing the fat cells. So the glucose, that's the sugar uptake in the fat cells, is going up. So it's helping to change the dynamics of how that is being processed and handled. It is changing the insulin sensitivity in the muscles, and the muscles have an increase in the glucose uptake. But I would say the two organs that are taking the biggest brunt of this injectable drug is the pancreas. It's putting that pancreas on overdrive. It is like putting your car in fourth gear all the time and never taking that car out of fourth gear. And quite honestly, our pancreas was never designed to produce insulin at that level. So this is still early in the lifespan of that drug, and sad reality we see with a lot of different medications and prescriptions. It's years down the road when they say, "Ah, gee, if we'd only known, we could have, changed something up." But the pancreas is really being impacted, and the liver. So the liver is increasing the storage of glucose, which is sugar, and it is downregulating the glucogenesis, that is the transference of the sugar into viable energy for the body. So what it's doing to that liver is it is creating the ability for that liver to become a fatty liver or a non-healthy liver, and that's not good. So there's always a turn away, a payoff, a trade-off, if you will, whenever we introduce some sort of a foreign synthetic into the body. And these are some of those. But I was listening to a doctor today, and he thinks that this is a train ready to derail off the tracks. He's so worried because the number one crisis point for the body is always started with the nutrient absorption in the body. The nutrients feed the cells, and if the cells are not getting the nutrients they need, you start to have a decline. And if the organ isn't getting the sugar processing and the nutrition that it needs from the digestive tract, it sets up for decline. And there's a huge impact on the brain. And so on and so forth it goes. So stay tuned to see what next is coming out. But there are side effects, and these are very well known, and they prepare everybody. And on the commercials, you hear them talk about, gastrointestinal problems and, all of these things. The reality is these people are often dizzy. They're having stomach pain when they are under any sort of stress because the digestive enzymes are not there to help them process and digest the food because they've been suppressed by the drug. And they start to have issues keeping the foods and the fluids down. You can have hypoglycemia, your blood sugar, or excuse me, your blood pressure can go up. You can have hair loss. And those are not really great things. But the doctor I was listening to, his biggest concerns are the pancreatitis. What's setting up in that pancreas, that kidney damage, that liver damage, that fatty liver. One of the newer things they have determined is that the thyroid is actually being attacked because the thyroid is the regulator of our temperature in our body, but also our caloric burning. And when we are suppressing and playing around, tinkering under the hood of how we're burning our calories, that can result in tumors in that, which can then later develop into cancer. Now, they have not done human testing on that, but they have found that to be the case in lab rat testing. There can be allergic reactions and, different things with arthritis. Arthritis is a result of toxins that settle in on joints and on nerves. So we're introducing a new toxin into the body, and that can be a problem, especially if you have an autoimmune issue or a low glutathione, which we'll talk about more in a minute. But the latest one I just heard the other day was diabetic retinopathy. And that is actually some people, sadly, are having vision impairment at the cost of weight loss. So I don't know if you might be the generation who has an appreciation for this, but when I was a kid, there was margarine, and they were trying to tell us it was just as good as butter. And then this lady would come on and she would say, "Oh, but it's not nice to fool Mother Nature." So those words ring true for me every time I hear one of those commercials. Um, it works for a while, but I just don't know. So, and you might be using those right now, or you know somebody who is. So I just want to show you an alternative to that. And when it comes down to a long-term historic battle of the bulge, it always comes down to metabolism, hormones, exercise, and diet. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I think what we're going to show you, in my way of thinking, is better. We're looking at reducing the size of the body, but at the same time, we're looking at repairing cells, regenerating organs, balancing the body. And here's the best news, it's not a diet. So what we're going to talk about is just a nice, healthy way of letting the body balance itself. So X39, we already talked about in the last intro recording we did. And that is looking at health from the inside out. And we're looking at natural healing and feeling and living better. And the conversation, the dialogue changes from what we were just talking about, the Fool Mother Nature system. This is actually talking about reversing aging, a longer lifespan, not just getting you to a higher number. We're talking quality of life through health span. So we're looking at prevention of health issues, decreasing your risk of chronic issues, and looking at amazing wellness, like really great sleep, energy, vitality, getting pain under control, and just everything about the body, just living up to a higher level. So that is the conversation that we're going to have now. We are talking about things that make the body better. There's no downside and no risk to this. And so the conversation becomes more like this. These are our two friends. Here's Marcy Preble, Dr. Stacy. Gee, my back and neck pain are gone. I lost some weight and my brain's doing better here. I have some better mental clarity, right? That becomes the new conversation. So we think that's a better conversation to have. Blood analysis. Look at these girls. They're so excited, the before and after. And I now do my blood work in 6-month intervals, and it is fun to watch because my numbers just keep getting better and better. I think one of Cammie's friends, I think she was like a 92-year-old lady. I believe in under 2 months, that lady was able to get off of her high blood pressure meds, determined by blood work. Now, my blood work said that my thyroid regenerated in 4.5 months. I did not expect that would happen. And when all of my change of life symptoms started recovering or regenerating and the hot flashes came back, I stopped sleeping. I lost my words again and I got stupid with my brain. I went to my medical doctor and I told him, I don't think these patches are working for me. And he laughed and he said, those repair cells, they know what they're doing. I think your thyroid's regenerated. And lo and behold, yep, he was right. So watch that blood work, work with your doctor. We highly encourage you. But what if your problems are not just fat? What if maybe the fluff, maybe that extra winter coat we put on might be a result because our body is storing toxins. So we don't want to see you in the gym for hours. We don't want to see you eating a few peas on a plate like that picture I just showed. We want to help you get your body balanced. So one of the best patches, and this is the first one that David ever introduced, was Energy Enhancer. This was developed 20 years ago for the States Navy SEALs out of San Diego. And what this is doing, it is non-transdermal and it is burning your fat for fuel. It's beta oxidation and it is fueling and firing up the mitochondria of the cell. That's the powerhouse. And this burns an extra 300 to 600 calories. And who doesn't want to do that? You know, for me, I'm like, wow, 300 to 600 calories. Let me loose with those extra bonuses a day. I can have a cookie, maybe even sneak in two, and not change my body shape. So again, this is the original patch. It is a 2-patch system. We always get 30 patches in a pack, but you'll notice the tan and the white. So it works on the polarity in the body, a positive and a negative, making change. The way this is doing this process is working off of the lymphatic system. It's actually flushing out the lymphatic system. And that is a really healthy thing to do for the body. I really encourage you to explore this. Do not be surprised if the first time or two you use this, if you are not an athlete who is doing running or rebounding, because we don't have a pump on the lymphatic system, if you feel a little sluggish. That stuff, that sludge might have been in your system, your lymphatic, for years. And when that stuff comes out, it might make you feel a little, not great for a day. Drink more water and trust that stuff will just process on out of the body. Another one that I love personally, because my genealogy, we're always borderline diabetic, and I've always been very cautious and careful, is SP6. David, our inventor, developed this one to help control cravings by managing the endocrine system. The endocrine system are our hormones. This is working off of the hypothalamus in the brain, and it's doing some really amazing things, controlling blood sugar and pancreas. And what we find is people who have had blood sugar issues in the past, they start seeing changes in that. And we've had some people adjusting their meds. Again, working with their doctor. We are not making any diagnosis here or promises. We're just letting you know what is possible. But this is a beautiful complement to a weight loss program. Again, hormone, blood sugar balancing, and it is really working off of the natural metabolic response, the way the body was designed to do that. And when we get these things in balance, great things start happening, and we have reduced cravings, hunger, and more control over what we put in our mouth. And they did a 1-week study looking at functionality of liver, pancreas, kidneys, and they saw a 97% increase in those 3 organs. Thyroid, intestines, and hypothalamus saw an 87% increase. The adrenal glands saw 75% increase. Adrenals are really important because that can create cortisol. So for a lot of us women that have gone through that middle life change, that cortisol tends to be like glue in the middle section of our body, and it gets harder to manage. This is just another nice tool, but significant cellular physiological changes throughout the whole body with that patch. I wanted to show you the number one placement, and the name of it is SP6, which stands for spleen 6 in Chinese acupressure. So, where I tend to wear mine day in and day out is on the inside of my left ankle. I go 4 fingers up, and that is the spot that speak to the hypothalamus in your brain. Does that seem weird? Yep, it is. But acupuncture is pretty amazing, and these patches really are acupuncture without needles. We're moving energy. We are unblocking blocked energy. So the next thing we're going to talk about is taking this up to a whole nother level. So those first 2 patches can be great and help you get your weight goals underway. But if you really want to supercharge the results as well as allow your body to get the most out of its nutrients and absorb the nutrients in the gut, we would suggest you do this gut regeneration system. And Joy is really a life health coach, and she feels very strongly the first month you get started with X39 Eon and maybe the Alavita if you have a sleep issue. But the second month, she prescribes for her clients to do the gut regeneration system because everything in your body is going to work better when we get the imbalance out of the gut. We detoxify, we get out the junk, we get inflammation under control. We balance that endocrine system. We start controlling the blood sugar. And here are the 4 patches here. The first day we do this system, we're wearing those 4 patches above the gut. The next day, it's around the belly button. And then the third day, we are below the belly button. I'm sorry, I meant to say above the belly button. But you are really regenerating that whole digestive tract with this system, and it's pretty amazing. And I'm going to show you a tool that I wish we'd had when we got started on so many of these things, but it's a tracker. We encourage you to do weight, take measurements with a cloth, measuring tape, your abdomen, hips, what have you. And then track as your body's clearing out toxins. Start noting, what do you see changing? Is your cognition better? Are you sleeping better? Do you have less anxiety? We hear this a lot. Do you see changes in your body contouring? The nutrients begin absorbing much better, and the cells just start repropagating. This is the doctor I learned about this from, and in 18 days, she lost 33 inches overall on her body. She wasn't getting on a scale. So you do what feels right for you. I think the combination of the two is very good. But this lady has been treating people with mental health crisis for years through the stomach with food and nutraceuticals. And then these patches came into her life, and she decided to try this system. And it has done amazing things for so many people. My husband, we just went on a cruise, and he's a foodie. Oh my goodness. Eric is, all you can eat. Oh golly, look out. And he gained quite a bit of weight. And in our first 10 days back, he lost 14 pounds doing this gut regeneration system. Was that all fat? No. A lot of it was swelling, water retention, toxins, the bad stuff he was putting in his mouth, inflammation, meat, red meat. It inflames your stomach. It makes it harder for the body to absorb and digest. But this lovely lady here is my bonus daughter, Angie. And she was really struggling. She was dealing with GERD, if you know what that is, gastroesophageal reflux disease, because her tummy was so bad. She was putting some really bad things into her stomach, and she was the heaviest she'd been, and she was really unhappy. And I said, you know what? I just learned about this. She came to stay with me at our beach house when she was 6 so I could take care of her. She thought she had the flu. I diagnosed her as, nope, you got the GERD. And the next day we put the 4 patches on her stomach and she stopped throwing up. The third day, the girl was sleeping through the night. She's been an insomniac since she was a kid. And her anxiety was so much more under control. She was calmer, more confident. In 18 days, she lost 35 pounds. So this picture of her in those skinny jeans, that was 18 days after wearing 4 Band-Aids on her stomach. By April, she'd done the system 2 times at that point. She'd lost 70 pounds. Now, mind you, she was using other patches. And I told you, when you allow the body to get in balance, the body does great things, right? The weight falls off when the body gets what it needs and it's not holding on to fat because it thinks you're in deprivation mode because the absorption of your nutrients isn't happening. So, and the other patch we're talking about here is Eon. And again, reducing inflammation. It also helps with pain. The nervous system gets calmed. It's doing just really great things. Inflammation, root cause of a lot of disease. It is a natural response for injury, infection, or irritation. Um, but you just don't want to have that chronic. You just don't want to be living with inflammation like so many people are, because when you do, that can be a trigger for cancer or cardiovascular disorders or autoimmune conditions. The pain sensation is really a signal. The body is trying to get your attention and it wants you to fix it. And this is a beautiful way to do that. And another patch as part of that gut regeneration system is glutathione. And that is working with the body's master antioxidant. It's helping to open the pathways in the body designed to usher out the toxins. Sad reality is a lot of us get really low on glutathione. And between 1 and 4 a.m. is when Mother Nature tries to take out the trash in our bodies. Here's the reality. If you are an insomniac and you're wide awake between those hours, guess what? The trash bags start stacking up at a closed door and they start backing up and they start creating issues in the body. And this little chart here is pretty shocking to me in that Alzheimer's. My father-in-law had a diagnosis of a loss of words, and we were able to utilize this patch along with a few others. And in 90 days, he was able to get his words back. In about 5 months, he started to get his memories back, and he actually got his personality back. And just there for dinner the other night, and he told us jokes, and we just carried on a great conversation. But when you get things in balance, the body has the ability to make these things that used to seem like, high problem issues a thing of your past. And who doesn't want that? But when we look at the immune center, all of those fast growing cell conditions are all a result of low glutathione. Acne, I had that. I also had that thyroid, that hypothyroidism. I had infertility. I had so many things. I know I had low glutathione. I sure wish I'd had these patches way back then. It would have saved me many, many tears and thousands of dollars in grief. But look at the inflammatory skin conditions, arthritis, gout, um, eyesight issues, macular degeneration, and many other eyesight issues can be reversed. And the list just goes on and on, but I just think it's amazing. And so many people don't even know that we have that. Glutathione is something we have in our body. It's a peptide in the liver, and we can bring it back. And it does amazing things for the body. So the reality is, at age 45, we start to lose muscle mass. And this is the last major little section here, and then I'll wrap this up. We're talking about a combination of X39, giving us that second lease on life, paired up with X49. These two are called the Performance Pack. And this is supporting fat loss by boosting the metabolism, a different peptide, the AHK, sister peptide to the GHK. And when he originally developed this patch, it was not about changing the contour of the body or building muscle. It was all about protecting the cells in the brain from electromagnetic frequency, knowing that 5G was coming. And he knew he couldn't block it. He'd been trying in his lab. But some pretty amazing things happen when you combine these two. So again, the X39 is for repair of the body, bringing back those repair cells. X49 is performance. This combination is now what a lot of the athletes have gravitated towards because it changes fat and flab into healthy, lean muscle mass. And it just recontours the body, tightens everything up. It's really amazing. But these are working synergistically. And the X39 is helping with the stem cell enhancement, and the X49 is helping in the reshaping of the body composition. But overall, they are improving the health exponentially because it's not all about what you look like. It's a lot of it's what's inside that matters most, right? This again, the athletes are going to this new combo, but they still love that energy enhancer too. And they love the, many of the other patches for other reasons, but you don't have to be an athlete to use these. You might just be somebody who has knee pain, or you just want to have more clarity of your mind. You can put these on your body wherever you have a crisis point, and it's going to help you. But again, this performance bundle, getting the two of these together, instead of it being $99 each, being about $200, you can buy them together as a promotional deal for $179.95. If you put it on your monthly subscription, they deduct another $10, so it's $169.95. has a great value for all that that's doing. But I want to give you a couple little tips beyond just patches. Protein. Protein is really your friend when it comes to dieting because protein helps the hunger hormone stay quiet. So it's not screaming in your ear. And it gives you that feeling of fullness much longer. So these are some great sources of protein, excuse me. And you can eat less and burn more when you eat the right combinations of foods. So, some of us think, oh, red meat, I can't eat that because it has fat. Nah, don't listen to those people that have confused our brains. These things right here are great all day long. Poultry, nuts, seafood, eggs, beans, vegetables, and vegetables have some protein in them too. The dairy, if you have a dairy sensitivity, maybe you skip that on that chart. I hear mixed reviews on the dairy stuff. But another thing that's critical to our body is water. And we always suggest that you use stream water as opposed to purified factory water. So if you're at Costco and you have the choice of Kirkland water or $1 more for Arrowhead, please pay the extra dollar. Get that stream source water that still contains the minerals. Our body needs those minerals so the cells can absorb that water and hydrate the cell. In July, this company is coming out with the world's first ever light infused water machine. We are so excited about this. The results will blow your mind. A man who'd been bedridden for several years got out of bed a couple hours after drinking one glass of that water. Yeah, it does amazing things. I can't even wait. But there's some other things in your kitchen that can help you just be healthier and can help with your weight loss too. Lemons. Lemons helps with so much. Your digestions, the kidney stones, boost your immune system. But salts, they don't have to be these ancient salts here, but this is my particular favorite brand. This is from Accelerated Health, a nutritionist out of Stanford University. And these are handpicked in the Himalayan mountains where we have very few toxins and pollution laying down on the salts. And they are not blasted out of the ground with gunpowder that we are then ingesting. But Celtic sea salt is another good one. Put a pinch in your water, put some on your tongue, and let it dissolve naturally. This combination right here is part of my daily routine of health. Again, this company is all about helping the body find balance. That word is homeostasis, warding off the negative impacts of toxins, our environment, our epigenetics, those things we inherit from our ancestors. It's all about resetting the body to a younger, healthier state. That repair timeline is always going to be unique to the person. And this will give you an idea here. I always tell everybody, 1 month for every decade you are old to bring back enough of those dormant repair cells to make a big difference. If you go beyond that, if you're beyond 6 months, 12 months, that's when the age reversal phase kicks in. That's when you go from looking like grandpa dude to hot dude, like Dr. Harmon. But we always say, be the light, share the light, and enjoy the magic that you'll experience. So I'd like to open it up now to questions. If anybody has any questions for us, we're happy to answer them. And I'm going to stop sharing. And we appreciate you being here tonight. I'm just going to stop the recording.
I wanted to just jump in and add a couple of things.